So today I'm going to be talking about the GX602s, 180 watt max power speakers. I'm going to be installing these into a 2016 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. It has the wheelie package, not that that impacts what we're doing, but if you have a Jeep, these speakers up in your roll bar there are horrible. They have no power, no sound. They're very muddy. There's no bass. So in this one, I'm just going to install these two back ones and talk a little bit about that process. I already took one off. Pretty easy. There's only 3 screws up here that you'll do. You're going to need the star head there to take that off. So it's the Jeep comes with a set of 3, but you actually need a much smaller one. I'm not sure the exact dimensions on this one. See if I get to zoom in there. But it's a little bit smaller, so once you get that right size, if you have any DeWalt that has interchangeables there, you just zip those 3 out and it comes out, and then you can see the exposed hair. So you have your main speaker, and then you got your tweeter too. Just horrible quality. There's also going to be a speaker and a tweeter inside. So we got my light. You end up having a tweeter there, and then down below you have a speaker in there as well. So I may end up doing that one a little bit later. I know that it's a little more involved. There's a lot more to take off. So I'm going to wait on those ones. But for this one, I'm just going to work on these back speakers. We're going to unbox these as well. So we could start with the unboxing. So you see I have double set here. I'm not going to open that one for now. So I then pulled it out. We got our little instruction manual. A little bit of styrofoam there. These are nice and wrapped up. Nice little heavy speaker there, so it's got some volume. It's got your mounting bracket, which everything I've seen online so far says that fits really well. It's wrapped up in some plastic here. So I took these out here. You can see here there's a speaker. It's got the built-in tweeter in it. So it's actually, I'm going to see about just unplugging the tweeter in the roll bar there and just using these for the entire roll bar speaker. So you can see it's a 60 watt, 180 watt peak, not pink. And I went with these over the Kickers, I think they're called. Those are kind of the ones that online really everyone said they had those. These were only $10 more. You're not going to get as much wattage out of them, but JBL definitely has some quality behind them, so I think you're going to get good sound, and that was something I was concerned about. I wanted good sound. So you can see here I got that one pulled apart. This one's kind of what it would look like put together. I'm also probably going to try to keep this exposed instead of putting the cover. This is the original cover that was up there on the roll bar. Just going to see what that looks like. If I don't like the way it looks, I'll end up putting this back on it. But so I have my mounting bracket, I have my speaker, and then I have my cover. It also comes with these nice pieces of insulation. There's tape on one side, and this will be put in if it's needed to help isolate the sound up there in the box. And that'll actually give you much more nice tone and more bass. There's also a little strip here of more padding, and it has a tape on the back. All the mounting screws you need to get in there. So up in here, it's kind of wedged. Let's see, just gonna go ahead and zip these out. Really quick. Drop that, there we go. Just letting those fall and keeping track of where they land. Oh, there we go. So you're probably going to want, if you're making a video, to have somebody sit with you so you don't drop speakers out. So here you go. Here's what the speaker is looking like. You see it's just an easy disconnect there. This speaker is definitely a lot lighter. Just feels very cheap, and it sounds even cheaper. So we're going to pull this out. You can see up there, you got a nice little box in there. This is some insulation. The other thing, I think this tweeter's isolated as well from the rest of the box. So there's an actual like a cylinder back here. So it will be nice too. It'll contain all of the sound we're putting into that box. So we're gonna go ahead and unplug this and then get the other one hooked up and see where we go from there. So the back of our JBLs has a little bit different of a hookup. We're actually gonna have these two little metal frames here, 1, 2, that we're gonna have to actually clip onto. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the wires from this little bracket here and see if they are meant to clip in or if I'm actually gonna have to splice the wire there and just kind of set it on there. So I'm gonna check that out now and figure out what the solution is. So what ends up happening now is you end up with these two wires, and in order to fit the JBLs, you're gonna have to strip these. So we're gonna cut these and take those metal tips off the ends, and we'll be able to actually wire them in then to the two hooks on the speaker itself. Now an important step here too is going to be to put this bracket on first. The speaker itself fits up in there, but it has there's no holes there to screw it in. So you can see it just kind of sits up in there. But the holes there's nothing to grab onto because the holes are really on the outside there. So we'll put the bracket on over this and then we'll wire it in. Once we get those wires stripped, we should be good to go. So I actually got it in here. So what I have the bracket back here. I did put a strip of insulation around it just to kind of keep it enclosed there. And then I used the original screws from the original bracket to mount the 3. And then I'm using the screws that came with the JBLs here to mount 1, 2, 3, 4 around. So I'm going to mount this in. And then, with this tweeter over here, I'm not sure I like the way that looks. So I'm probably just going to end up putting the cover back on, even though I really like the way that this bracket looks. In the future, if I could find something that flushes this up a little bit, or maybe if I could cut that out of that bracket and have that sit there, I'll do that. So for now, I'm just going to end up going and putting the bracket on, and then that's how it goes. So, and I already turned it on. One thing you're going to want to do is after you actually put the wires on the back, you could solder them in. You kind of twine them around it. If you twine them, you run the risk of them loosening and falling out, and then you having to do this all over. So if you solder it, just keep it a little sturdier. I'm probably actually going to take this tweeter out as well. I don't want this to get staticky and shaky and then sound like crap going along with this one. So I'm going to pop this tweeter out and just disconnect it and then stick it back in there. So that's pretty much changing them out here on the sound bar there. And again, these are $69 or $79. I got these at Best Buy, the JBL. So I think it's a good alternative to the shit sound that comes in here. So one last thing post-install that I noticed, and you'll be able to kind of see here, the tweeter on this is actually a little bit lower than this piece here, so it's actually pushing against it. So that is something that needs to be taken care of. I'm probably going to end up cutting that hole out so that I could do then the other piece that came with the speaker, because you can see that's pushing there. That is not a good thing. So little minor thing after installing. I got both of them in. I've played them. They sound awesome. So again, good upgrade. Nice cheap upgrade for $70. You get your roll bar done. But I'm going to also do the front speakers there. Don't forget to unplug your tweeters there so you don't get that muddled sound from the back.